what you don't see is I don't get the code word right every time. I don't have a perfect reading every time. That's the way this goes. There's no science, this is the way that you go. You follow this step and this step and this step. There's no, systematic way of reading for people. It's different. It's a feeling, it's an energy. We're talking to dead people here. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast, where practical spirituality meets real life. Hi, I'm your host, Sheetal Story. I'm a psychic medium, grief support counselor, professional astrologer, and a human design reader, and of course, a law of attraction master coach. With my unique blend of spiritual and practical tools, I am here to help you align with your soul-led purpose and ignite a life that sets your soul on fire. In this podcast, we are going to explore the principles of energy, astrology, spirituality, and psychology to help you heal your grief and create an aligned life and business from the inside out. Whether you are looking to deepen your intuition, understand your cosmic design, or transform your business, this podcast is for you. Join me each week for insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories that will guide you on your journey to living your very best life. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Sheetal Story or wherever you listen to this podcast. Let's dive in and start this transformative journey together. Welcome to the Story of Spirit podcast. Today's episode is hot off of the presses in my life. And the reason why I wanted to record this episode, number one, because I just had a reading that didn't go as planned. And it brought up a lot of how much I have learned and all the stories that I used to tell myself. So this is really unplanned, 100%, and out of order. I was supposed to record an astro forecast, but this is just so hot off of my heart right now. I have a reading in 20 minutes, and so this is going to be fully channeled for you. The biggest fear of every psychic medium, I think of every coach, of every therapist, of anyone who is doing any service work in the world that really matters. I think even doctors have this fear that it's not going to go well. Right. It's just not going to go according to plan. There's going to be a wrench in it. And all of a sudden, things are just not going to go the way that is expected. And that was one of my biggest fears as a psychic medium, is to read for somebody and have nothing. Like, not nothing, but just it not go the way that I want it to. And the way that I want it to is that I want it to be perfect for you. Don't you? Right? I want it to be perfect. I want it to meet the need that you have coming into the session. I want you to get what you came for. I want to perform. I want to be perfect for you. Oh, there's that perfection coming back into my life. Thanks, Virgo. Thank you, soul, for choosing to be a Virgo in this lifetime. That is something that continues to come up for me. I want to be perfect and I want to meet your expectations. One of the things of being a psychic medium is we work for spirit. We don't work for the client, even though the client is paying us. The client is spirit. And so I'm an emissary for spirit. And sometimes you don't get what you want. You get what you need, but not always what you want. But there's also times when it doesn't work out. I know. And I used to think that it was me not being good. I wasn't ready to read yet. And I have had incidents where it just doesn't work out. Like, so it's not that I don't get anything. I'll feel your spirit. I can feel spirit might be there as well, but the flow just doesn't work. And, I just had a reading where it didn't work out. And there was a time in my life when I would freak out. And I was so scared. I was so scared to read for people. And I remember, because if I didn't get it right, what would happen if I didn't get it right? I couldn't connect to your spirit people. I couldn't get, the information that you needed. I wasn't giving you what you came for, but also I just wasn't getting it. You know what I mean? Like you just get stuck. And one of the things I love about my mentor is he was very honest. I don't ever learn from people that aren't honest with their experience and what's happening. And he used to tell us a story of how it didn't work for him. A lady had come all this way. This was, from England, and she had traveled 3 hours by car to come and see him, have a reading. He could feel that she had a need, but get nothing. getting nothing. And he was trying and he was working, and it just wasn't working. She was very disappointed. And so he said, listen, you know what, this isn't working today. I'm going to offer you, either a refund, or I'm going to be in your neighborhood doing some work, and I will come and do a private reading for you in your house, and let's see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll give you back your money, but you have some choices. And she said, I'll choose to see you in a couple weeks. So 3 weeks later, he shows up at her house, and she has zero expectations now. Right. She's not expecting it. She's like, it sucked already. Let's see what happens. And it was amazing. He gave her a reading from her son. It was everything that she needed. She cried. There was a lot of healing, and it all worked out. And he tells us the story that there was a number of factors that day. Maybe he wasn't ready. Maybe the energy was off. Maybe her son wasn't ready to come through. But she had such a strong need to hold to hear from her son, that it was the need was what he was becoming aware of. It was so strong that it was blocking everything else. So that's also could be a possibility too. When you want something so bad, you're aware of the want, but the things behind it, the energy behind it, what brought you here, that's hard to feel because the want is the strongest. So, I thought that was amazing. When you told us that story, I was like, oh, here's somebody that I hold in high regard, that is the best medium that I have seen in the world. And he struggles too. It's not always going to work out. And, the way that he told it, it's not a struggle at all. It actually is just an acceptance that sometimes it just doesn't work out. And it doesn't mean anything about how good you are as a psychic, or how the client is or spirit is. It just sometimes doesn't work out. And I remember that giving me such freedom to go forward and be like, fine, what's the worst that could happen? So it doesn't work out, I refund them the money. And then they tell everybody I suck. Okay. Okay. So what? So what? I still have clients that I worked out really great with. I have amazing readings. I get details and I help people. That still gets to be true. That doesn't negate everything else that I've done. And that changed my life. Another story that changed my life. My brother gave me tickets to see Teresa Caputo one time. And there was one time I saw her. I saw her twice. Teresa Caputo is the Long Island medium. In case you don't know, she's got a TV show, and she is a very prolific personality. She's definitely meant for TV. She is very unique, and very loud, very herself, and she's hilarious. And I love her because she's just herself no matter where she is. And I saw her twice. So there was one time that my brother brought me tickets, and then there was one time that I spent my money and I went with two girlfriends and we sat on the floor. And this is that incident. And so I brought my book. It was my first time seeing her. I still was not reading for clients publicly. There was, if you knew somebody and you got in or you asked me, I would say yes. But I probably was charging very little at that time too, because I didn't have a very high regard for my gift, because I just didn't think I was very good. And regardless of what I was receiving from other people. So I remember sitting in the audience, and one of the things I had a big, big fear of is if I didn't get the code word right. Right. So if you have a code word with your person in spirit, and so as a medium, sometimes you get tested, and you see it on TV a lot, right? And on TV, they always get the code word. So it seems so effortless, right? But I don't read like that, right? I don't read with code words. I barely remember names in real life. So as you are in real life is as you are as a medium. And for me as a person, I love to hear your story. I want to know what makes you special, what you're healing, what you're moving through, cool stories about your life. I love my father-in-law has lived a very storied life, and he tells us these stories of polar bears and working up north, and in his life. It's just fascinates me. I can't get enough, and I'm sure his family has heard those stories so many times, but I love them. I literally am captivated because I have a very active imagination. I can hear and I can feel and I can see the picture in my mind as he's telling the story. So Long Island medium, as we come back to that, I love stories. That's how I read in spirit. That's how I am as a medium and as a psychic. I tell the story of spirit. That's literally the name of my Facebook page, and also the name of my company, The Story of Spirit. So I'm not really interested in the name or the locket in the third drawer of your dresser. Like, yeah, those are fine, but I really want to tell the story of your spirit. So I was very, very scared that I would be tested with this, locket, or the picture, the tattoo. Sometimes I get those things. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get names. Sometimes I don't. But on TV, it makes it seem like it's perfect every time. Ah, there's that word, perfect, coming up again. So I went to see Teresa Caputo sitting on the floor with my book. I was hoping she'd come by and sign it. I was having a good feeling about it. I knew I was meant to be there. And she didn't ever come by to sign my book, which is fine. That was not why I was there. Why I was there was a reading she did that changed my life. And I still remember this, and I tell this a lot in the story of me being a medium. So she's very good. Man, is she really good live too? She's a very good medium, psychic. She calls herself medium, not psychic. Semantics, but that's for another day. So I went in anyway, so she reads, she said, I have siblings here in the audience. There are four of them, and they all have a locket with their mother's ashes, with their loved one's ashes. I think she said mother, but anyway, loved one's ashes. Four siblings here in the audience, and there was over 4,000 people there. Okay, I counted the seats. 4,000 people there. There was a lot of people there. So to have that specific message, like she knew who she was going to. Four siblings, ashes in the locket, and they happened to be sitting in the front row. And so the cameras go over and she gives them all mics, and she's reading each one of them. She's like, you named your daughter your mom's name as her middle name. You got a tattoo in honor of your mother. You are not dealing with it. There's a sibling in the family that doesn't like the way you've been dealing with her death. And the younger sibling looks down the line, and they captured it. It was so funny because they were like, yeah. And so of course it had to come out there. And so she gave each one a reading from their mother that was very, very specific for the mother. So the oldest son steps, and these are men, like these are grown people, right? They're in their like 50s, like they're older people. And so the oldest brother takes the mic, and he said, if this is truly my mom, we asked her to bring through a code word. If this is really you, tell us the code word. And she said, you're effing kidding me, right? And she got mad. Teresa Caputo got mad, not the mother. Teresa Caputo got mad. And Teresa's like, you're effing kidding me, right? Your mother has come all this way. She gave you the locket. She gave you the tattoo. She gave you the name of your daughter. But that's not good enough. You want a code word? Do you think this is how it works? Don't insult me and don't insult your mom. And she got on the stage and she was huffing, like she was walking back and forth on stage. You could tell she was trying to regroup, but she was mad. She's like, sometimes I get the code word, sometimes I don't. But doesn't matter, because your loved one is still here and they are coming with so much love. Don't you dare disrespect this process. Your loved one, there's no way I would have known any of that information about you, right? And then she, under her breath, she'd go effing code word. Yeah. Yeah. Effing code word. What? I'm a monkey dancing for you. And I was giggling with joy in my seat, because for the first time, I saw a medium stand up for spirit, go against the grain of expectation and how they've been trained, on TV to think that this, and she said that. She's like, TV makes it seem like I get the code word every time. She says, yeah, that's good TV. So you'll see that. What you don't see is I don't get the code word right every time. I don't have a perfect reading every time. That's the way this goes. There's no science, this is the way that you go. You follow this step and this step and this step. There's no systematic way of reading for people. It's different. It's a feeling, it's an energy. We're talking to dead people here. And I remember that changing me fundamentally. Like I felt like a ripple move through my DNA, because I realized I don't have to get that right. So flash forward, in my life, I started reading for people. I felt like that was like my permission. And I remember having a client where I used to see my clients in my basement, y'all. I'd move aside all the kids' toys. And I put up a little screen that if you go to the bathroom, you could see behind the screen, see all the mess of the toys behind the screens. But that's how I used to read for people in my house. I no longer read for people in my house. And, I had this lady come in, sat down, and it just wasn't flowing. I was trying and trying and trying. It just wasn't working. And I said, listen, it's just not working today, and for whatever reason, I was sweating. I was sweating. But I had not only my mentor's story and Teresa Caputo, sitting in behind me going, you can do this. It's okay. It's not about perfection. So I said, for whatever reason, it's not working today. I'm going to give you two options. I can refund you. Well, at that time, I only took money afterwards. So I said, you can go and we'll never read for you again. And I can give you a referral to one of my colleagues who I know are very good in reading. Or you can come back and see me, in another time. I'll send you my availability and you come back and we try it again. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And we're just not meant to read for each other. And that's fine. Or I'm not meant to read for you. And that's fine. And she opted for coming back. And she came back to see me a month later. I was very prepared in terms of I was meditated, I cleared the space, I had smudged. I was ready in terms of being fully in my body and being open to spirit. And the reading was amazing. Amazing. I got her mother's name in spirit. I got what was happening for her. I helped her to sort out what her next steps are. It was one of the best readings ever. And I was like, wow, what happened? Right? What is that? I don't know. I don't know what happened. Whether the energy of spirit was ready, where I was more ready, where she had released expectations, I don't know. But it just worked out. And then that proceeded to happen again over the next 10 years, 3 more times. Not bad, right? Not bad. 10 years, 3 times, 4 times in 11 years, pretty good. And every time it happens, I can recognize when it is happening. And I have to then become the person who pulls the plug and says, listen, this isn't working. So I haven't had that happen in a long time, probably in about 2 years. And then I had a reading today, and bless this person's heart. They are so sweet and so amazing. Never had a reading before in their life. Very open. This person was very, very open. And it just was like pulling teeth. Not because they were, a skeptic or anything, which I love reading for skeptics, but this wasn't that at all. It was like I could feel that there was two people in spirit. I could feel that they were at a crossroads in their life, but everything I was saying was, yeah, I don't know. Yes. Like it was trying to be very generous, and bless, like what a beautiful soul. And I was like, I'm sorry, this isn't working. And I noticed the ease in my heart. Like I was really aware of how I felt. And I said, it's just not working today for whatever reason. It's not your fault. Because I know we always like to blame ourselves. Whether it's me, whether it's spirit, whatever, I'd like to offer you two things, either a refund or an opportunity to reschedule. And if the reschedule doesn't work out and it still sucks, then I'll refund you your money and we'll call it a day. And they opted to reschedule. It's so funny because every time it's ever happened, which is now this is the 5th time in 11 years that I've been reading, 12 years because my son is 15 and it took me 3 years before I started reading for people. So 12 years that I have been reading for clients. This is the 5th time this has happened. And it was wild to just sit with that, and to be like, this means nothing. It means nothing about you. It means nothing about me. It means nothing about spirit. And they were very sweet. They sent them time to reschedule. We're going to reschedule it. And I just sat with it. And I asked the question, like, why did this happen? And spirit said it just wasn't the right time yet. And whatever that means, whatever that timing is, whether it's timing for him, timing for me, maybe something else needs to happen in their life that then when we meet again, that it's going to be perfect. And the thing that I'm supposed to help him with is going to come across his path. I don't know. But what I do know is the intelligence of the spirit world and the intelligence of the universe far surpasses mine. Far surpasses mine. And when I realized that, it gave me peace, that I don't have to know everything and I don't have to be perfect. And, I've said this in previous episodes, but it's like new level, same devil. As I ascend, as I go up the ladder, down the road, even as my business grows and I help more people and I impact more people, that these readings it's going to come back around again, and maybe in the court of public opinion where someone's going to be like, yeah, I had a reading where it sucked. And then we rescheduled and it was really good. But why? And maybe they can scrutinize that and whatever. And I always say in my readings, spirit, give me things that no one can Google about this person, that no one can Facebook about this person, that it is nowhere on the internet, that you're showing this person authentically, that this connection is real, that you exist, and this process is truth. So I can only trust spirit with that because I really have no time to Google people. And even when we reschedule, they'll just go back into my schedule. I'll move on with, all the sessions that are coming up. And I always feel like surprised when I'm like, oh, hey, here you are now. It's going to be fine. It's going to work from a new level of awareness and ease, maybe. And that's really the key as well when I had to reschedule, that I didn't get nervous, right? Because then that nervousness can block me really connecting, right? It's that kind of trying to control. When you try to control your intuition, what happens is you block it off. You choke off a hose. Think of like you're holding a hose, and then if you hold too tight, you block off the flow of whatever's going through that hose. So control does that with your intuition. So the really big key is when I'm going into a reschedule, that based on, these 5 that I've had now, 4 before that are completed, that I just go in super relaxed, super trusting, and know that everything's going to work out, because it always does. It always does. So this was bubbling up on my heart. I really wanted to share this. It's totally sharing out of order. I know my team will put it into proper order, but I just really wanted to share this with you because I think there can be this fallacy, especially with someone like me, that I'm on podcasts and social media and I'm speaking on stages, that you think it's perfect and I have it worked out and I'm always amazing on readings. And the fact of the matter is, I'm not. And that doesn't make me any less potent or amazing. It really doesn't. I had to tell myself that through the first 3 times that happened. And again, it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes it just does. I've also had clients come to me and say that they've been told that they're unreadable. I have never had an experience with someone who was unreadable. I've had an experience with someone that was super protected and came from a line of gypsies. And I know that term sometimes is not seen as favorable, but they actually term themselves that. That's why I use it in that way. That they're actually from that lineage. And so they're very, very protected. And so I feel like you have a big kind of like armor around you. And I feel like an auntie that protects you very, very strongly. And I feel that there's an intuitive line that comes through Eastern Europe for you. And I want to use the word gypsy, but if that feels offensive to you, please, I will change that term. But I feel like they call themselves that. And she's like, you're bang on with all of that. And I said that, and then the armor protects me from seeing further. But I can tell you what I know, what I can feel of your auric field. And so it couldn't go any deeper than that. But she said, it's exactly right. My auntie has a very, very strong protection around me. And I wear this talisman, and she showed it to me. And I was like, well, that in itself is a reading, right? How would I know any of that? So that's the one and only time that I've ever had somebody where I was like, oh, I can feel very strong protection around you. I have been able to read for everyone that has come through. So, just 5 times now where it didn't work out in the first go and I had to try again. And I think that's also a really beautiful lesson for you, is that if it doesn't work out, just try again. Just try again. It's okay. It's not about perfection. It's about accepting that sometimes the timing is just not right. So, wishing you divine timing, trusting in yourself, and trying again as it aligns with your intuition. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Story of Spirit podcast. I hope you have found inspiration, support, and practical insights to help you align with your soul-led purpose and live a life that sets your soul on fire. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us to reach more listeners and continues to provide valuable content. I sincerely appreciate every share, and I know it is how most people find me. It is because caring people like you have shared me with them at the right and perfect time. For more resources, insights, and to connect with our community, please visit us at www.sheetalstory.com and follow us on Instagram at sheetalstory. Remember, your journey to a more aligned and vibrant life is just the beginning, and I am here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep shining your beautiful light. This is Sheetal Story, signing off from the Story of Spirit podcast. Here's the legalese that's required by our lawyers. This podcast and the YouTube channel represents the opinions of Sheetal Story and her guests to the show. The content should not be taken as medical, psychological, or financial advice. This series is informational and entertainment purposes only. Because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional, your mental health dream team, your financial advisor, or anyone else that's an expert in the field in where you are thinking of making big choices in your life.